A very good morning and welcome to the penultimate day of this week's edition of BNS and the Stock Game. I'm Megha Chadda.
Hi everyone, I'm Avan Dabash, and as always we've got our three experts right here with us to battle it out, and we'll see who's going to be the final winner of BNSN the Stock Game. As always, we have to run you through what the rules and regulations are. It's a portfolio building exercise, so an amount of 5 lakh rupees is given to our experts. They have to create a portfolio with a total of 4 stocks. 1 stock can be selected from the F&O space. There's a compulsory churn of 2 stocks every single day, and in case there's a sell call in the cash market, it must be replicated by a new stock. In addition to that also, finally, in fact, by the end of the week, we will tell you who is the winner on BNS and the Stock Game based on who makes the maximum amount of money on their 5 lakh rupees. So let's bring on board our 3 contestants who are playing BNS and the Stock Game with us this week. We've got with us Pankaj Jain, Director, Suntech Wealth Max. There's also Shrikant Shetty, Head Equity Advisory at Unicorn Investment Solutions. And right here in our Mumbai studio is Uday Narayan Dubey, Vice President, Research and Institution Desk at RK Global. Great to have you with us as always, gentlemen, and all the very best for the Stock Game. But let Megha first run us through what happened to their portfolios yesterday.
Well, Awan, we had Pankaj who managed to maintain the lead that he got on the second day, but let's run you through the individual portfolios then. So we had Uday who first was stopped out on 3 names. So he had buy calls coming in on an M&M and ACC. Both of them got stopped out. Not just that, an ICICI Bank short call also didn't work out too well. And a short on a BPCL was squared off by the day's close. So he was in the 3rd position, losing about 5,000 rupees. Shrikant, on the other hand, a long call on an HCL Tech as well as a Cairn India got stopped out. We had a Bank of India short call which was squared off, but by the day's close he was making close to 10,300 rupees. Pankaj, on the other hand, in the first few hours of trading session, his short portfolio had hit the targets that he'd set out. So all those 4 calls had achieved the target, and he was making close to 23,000 rupees, maintaining that lead from day 2. But let's take it to our experts then and discuss what they've got in their portfolio for us for today. Uday, let's begin with you. Your portfolio for today is evenly divided. We've got 2 buy calls and 2 short calls coming in.
Yeah, I expect a range bound kind of a move in today's trading before F&O expiry. That's why I have chosen the same strategy that I have done last day. I have a 2 buy call and 2 sell call. My 2 buy calls are BHEL and Infosys, having a target of 260 on a BHEL and 2830 on an Infosys. And 2 sell call, Titan and Indian Bank. I am keeping a target of 166 on a Titan and 170 on an Indian Bank.
Okay, adopting pretty much the same strategy that he did yesterday. We'll only find out when the calculator plates come up if this is working in his favor or not. But let's take it to Shrikant Shetty then and find out what he's doled out for us on day 4. Hi Shrikant.
I have picked up 4, most of them all sell calls actually. We'll begin with Bombay Bank, a short side, Vijay Bank on a short side, JSW Steel again on a short side, and Bank Nifty, given the overall weak sentiment which was there.
Okay, so that's how Shrikant's portfolio is looking. 4 short calls making an appearance. And Pankaj, it looks like you don't think that the market's mood is going to get better anytime soon. Like yesterday, you've got 4 short calls for us for today as well.
Yeah, morning. I think like what we had conveyed earlier in earlier programs also, that short term we believe the trend of the market is bearish kind of thing, and within that bearish trend what we are trying to do is we are trying to identify the pockets of extra weakness in particular stocks. So that is our idea is basically to give the short term direction in those particular stocks. Our targets may or may not be achieved, or even if they are achieved, that doesn't mean those are the final targets for that particular direction. So taking that into consideration, also yesterday we had mentioned that if the closing is below 4715, our short term stance would be bearish, and we could be heading to levels closer to say 4620 on short term basis. So that has been the sense, that has been the idea. And maybe on the lighter side, maybe our markets are taking some cues from Indian batting in Australia. So taking all these things into consideration, we have gone short on Bank Nifty. We've been consistently bearish on PSU banking stocks, and even private sector banking stocks are turning bearish now. So we've gone short on Bank Nifty, we have gone short on Bank of India, we've gone short on Hexaware, and we've gone short on Jindal Steel and Power.
Alright, it looks like the expiry this time around is going to have lingering weakness, which is why Pankaj Jain has gone short on all of his stocks. But let's find out who's making the money right now and how much. That's the calculator plate of Uday Narayan Dubey. No target prices or stop losses hit today, but he's experiencing pain across the board. That's 1.6% off. 8,240 rupees is what he's losing. That's putting him in third place. In second place is Shrikant Shetty right now. He's making a gain across the board, barring a Vijaya Bank. The target price achieved on JSW stopped out on a Vijaya Bank. That's 15,000 rupees, a 3% gain on his portfolio on day 4. But it's solid gains, and marching ahead is Pankaj Jain. So barring a Hexaware, the target price has been achieved on the other 3 stocks, which sums up to close to 31,000 rupees, a smart gain of 6% on the overall portfolio, and that puts him in first place, which he has been maintaining for quite some time now. But let's chat about the individual stock picks so that you get a better idea of the same. We'll start off with the BHEL, on which you've got a buy call there. Given the kind of troubles that this sector has been plagued with, do you think that it's already in the price, and at what levels do you think it's prudent for someone to pick up the stock?
I think all the worst is already been priced in. The stock is currently trading around 240 and it's below. The company is having a good order book position. It's having an order of by Q2 FY Hotel. They have an order book around 610 billion, which is around 3x to the FY Hotel expected earning. I think company is well positioned, having a good surplus amount of cash and minimal debt. Company is a good for longer term pick. Maybe the sector and the sentiment is overall weakened for the capital goods industry. I think the investment cycle, once the investment cycle will start turning in the favor of companies or for the overall sector, that is going to be started from the next maybe after the quarter in Q1 FY 13 or maybe the second half of FY 13. So that's maybe the stock and the overall sector will start doing up. Maybe we have a good long-term outlook for the stock, and we expect the stock to do well over the period. That's why. And technically speaking, stock is currently holding around 240 since last few trading sessions, and it's trading in a range. And I expect some amount of shorts are still there, which need to be covered up. That's why we have initiated a buy call on a stock having a target of 260.
Okay, so fundamentally looking rather strong. A BHEL a bit soft in the session today, but it has recovered quite smartly from those 52-week lows of about 226 odd. Shrikant, for today you're starting the game with a short call coming in on a Bombay Dyeing. This one fundamentally the company is trying to make a shift in its business plan in terms of its operations and focus more on the retail side of the business. But talking about the charts, it's been very jagged ever since the month of October. In fact, yesterday it broke down below all those moving averages, and it's already down quite a bit today as well.
Yeah, primarily it is a technical call based on the fact that it's broken all the moving averages and does look weakish from a short-term perspective. As I said, on the fundamental side, they are trying to do things which might help from a longer-term perspective. There is a land valuation which is fairly attractive for longer-term investors. There is a potential for a retail play getting played up over a longer term. These would be good from a longer term perspective, but this is purely from a technical perspective that I've initiated this trade with a stop loss of 358. It almost achieved the target of about 346. That's where this trade has been opened up.
Sniffing distance away from that target price of 346 for long term, it's a thumbs up, but Shrikant saying for the short term period, it's a sell call. Yesterday, Pankaj, you shorted the Nifty futures. Today, it's the Bank Nifty futures that you're shorting, and it's very disconcerting to see the kind of breakdown that we've seen in this index overall. So you're saying that now the trend is going to be negative going forward?
I think so. I think our call for next fortnight, I think markets are very choppy and you got to plan for week to week kind of basis. Our call for next fortnight or so is bearish on especially on say Bank Nifty, and we got some reasons for that. I've already explained reasons regarding hardening of yields, and the banking sector as such, they'll have to make extra provisions in Q3. Along with that, recently there was a RBI order whereby they've asked most of the banks to set aside extra capital against their investment in what we call financial entities, something like insurance sector. So even that will further tighten their balance sheet. Along with that, what we had seen yesterday, there was a sell-off in European banks. So that was another reason. Apart from that, this power sector scene, I think there are serious NPAs, probable NPAs, I think, steering into banking system in this power sector scene. Yesterday or sometime back, we've seen a statement for Adani from Adani Power, Reliance Power, that they're not just able to tie up their coal and gas. So those are the scene, those are the scenario we think banking system is under strain, and worst is yet to come. So say maybe after some kind of pullback where we saw Bank Nifty going up to 8400 levels, I think again the Bank Nifty is under strain. So that was the reason we went short on Bank Nifty today.
Okay, so weakness on the cards for the Bank Nifty, but let's cut into the Lokpal bill debate that's going on right now. Okay. So we've got the Lokpal bill discussion that's going on. Do remember that the Lok Sabha has already passed the bill. Now it's up for discussion in the Rajya Sabha, and a lot of changes and developments that are expected for it. So we'll keep on, of course, tracking that debate very, very closely. But time then to go back to our experts and talk about the second picks for the day. Uday, IT big boy Infosys making an appearance. You've decided to initiate a long call there. We've seen that on the charts. It's the 200-day moving average on a short-term basis, which is acting as quite a bit of support, and it's been quite steady for the month of December. Just 120 to 150 point range is what we've seen for the name.
Yeah, Infosys and even IT as a whole pack is the outperformer in market, and currency depreciation is supporting these stock and likely to support continue. Infosys has reported a good number, and we expect the same repetition of a good number in Q3 results coming in, which is going to be announced in somewhere Jan. So we have a positive call on the result, and Infosys, and as a pack, IT is looking quite good and interesting to me. Overall chart pattern and price pattern are quite strong on Infosys. On a dips, we are seeing some good buying and good buying interest. They are these safe and defensive pockets right now. So we have a good outlook on a stock and overall for the sector, and that's why we have a good call. Technically 2805 is the bit hurdle where the stock is feeling bit pressure to cross. I think once that will be taken, our stock can move sharply around 2850 or 2830. That's where I have a target and eyeing on.
Okay, that's a word which is coming in on an Infosys, on which Uday is placing a buy call. But lingering weakness in the banking arena, no surprises then to see a short call coming in on a Vijaya Bank. What kind of levels are you envisaging for the same, Srikanth?
So again, there's another one from a trading perspective. Overall bank sector have been weak, and have been trying to find underperformers in this space. Yesterday I picked up Bank of India on the weaker side. So Vijaya Bank also falls in the similar category where we've seen underperformance coming through. For a target of 44.50 is what I had picked it for, with a stop loss of 46. Overall, PSU banking space is likely to see weakness, be it in terms of hardening of yields, margin pressures, or NPAs, or restriction of assets, or increasing competition. Whichever way you look at it, PSU bank seems to be under pressure, both in terms of pure business parameters as well as in terms of capital requirement to grow their business also is going to be difficult. So in that sense, there will be incremental pressure on the PSU banking space, and that's where I've recommended to sell on the same.
Okay, keeping with the banking space then, we've got a Vijaya Bank, of course, which is holding up in the session yesterday and the day before. Both the days we saw losses of about 3% come in for that name. But talk about a Bank of India then. Pankaj, you've already outlined why the banking pack as a whole is showing weakness because of both fundamental as well as technical reasons. But specifically, we've got a Bank of India which has hit a 52-week low today, helping you achieve your target of 270.
Yeah, I think like we've already discussed why we're going short on PSU banking space. Now it's matter of like which one is much weaker on that particular day, and we've identified, I think, this Union Bank, Syndicate Bank, Bank of India, Oriental Bank of Commerce, even Punjab National Bank, the one of the stronger PSU bank. I think most of them are hitting new 52-week lows on every alternate day. So Bank of India, I was seeing the charts of Bank of India, said it has crashed from levels closer to say 330, 335, and the kind of pattern it was showing yesterday, and with the kind of expected weakness we were expecting today, so we went short on Bank of India. I think serious support for Bank of India we can envisage is somewhere closer to say 255, 256. So Bank of India, we are bearish on this stock for next couple of days.
Okay, a shade above the target price, but it had already been achieved in trade today. And take a look at a Bank of India, opened on a soft note and is continuing to reel under pressure, 1% off at 272. A quick check then on the calculator plates. Uday Narayan Dubey, as we mentioned, is currently in third place. Titan Industries, though, is a good spot for him, although marginal gains being eked out of that. It's 1.5%, that's 8,200 rupees off. You've got Shrikant Shetty then, who's making a gain on the overall portfolio, 50-50 for the day though. You have a total gain of 2.7%, that would sum up to 13,700 rupees. And finally on to Pankaj Jain, he's in first place with a solid gain on his portfolio of 31,000 rupees, target price achieved on 3 counters barring a hexaware. Well, let's just also take note of the flashes which are coming in on your screen with respect to the Lokpal bill which has been tabled in the Parliament today. Remember, just yesterday you had the news that it had been passed by the Lok Sabha on Wednesday and was to be tabled in the Rajya Sabha today, and now we've got the news that it's happened. And in fact, the numbers this time around were delicately poised in the 243 member House. The Trinamool Congress also is likely to move close to 3 amendments to drop the Lokayukta provisions in the Lokpal bill, but that's the latest that we have on the same. With that, we'll slip into a quick break, then right here on BNS and the Stock Game, and discuss some of the other picks when we're back.
Absolutely, and in fact you can also get any stock queries that you may have answered on the show. So you can write into us at bnsn@etnow.tv. You could also message us your query at 58888, or you could call us and join in live on the show at 022 24837 111.
Not just that, get your portfolio also answered in our Portfolio Advisor segment by sending us your entire portfolio details with a question to bnsn@etnow.tv, and we'll give you expert advice Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Back with BNSN, the Stock Game, and this week we're playing the game with Uday as well as Pankaj as well as Shrikant. So let's get you then their third pick for the day. Uday, Titan Industries on the short side, a target of 166. This stock has of course seen quite a bit of volatility in recent times, but fundamentally not too much has changed for the company. In fact, things are improving. We've seen volume pickup coming in as gold prices have kind of petered off a little bit, and it's corrected quite sharply from those levels of 230 odd in the month of October.
I think gold prices in dollar term has corrected around 20%, but in rupee term we are yet to see the major correction. Because of a currency's appreciation, I don't think gold prices has corrected as much as it has corrected in dollar term. I am not too optimistic on the gold overall for the coming period and all. That's why we have a maybe hold rating on this stock. I think FY 12 will be the good year, as the management and as the initial report and initial working of our also tell the company is able to post a 28% kind of a growth rate. But for 2013, I think when the gold prices will be on a lower side and maybe higher volatility is going to then the volume growth also. So I think 2013 will be quite difficult to meet on, and that's why that's why we have a hold rating on this stock. I think gold prices will be continue to be volatile, and that's why we might see some kind of a margin pressure also incoming in gold when the investment demand, even the SPDR and major central banks are selling gold. So we expect gold prices to correct further. So if the gold prices correct further, then what will happen to the older stock? Maybe the companies that buys having a buying around 27,000 and 26,000 when everyone is eyeing on a gold for a target of 30,000, 32,000. So I think gold prices to be jittery in coming days, and maybe is going to dent the profit outlook for the company, and 2013 will be much more challenging than 2012. So that's why I think that time the valuation premium will be quite narrow, and company is quite richly valued around here. I think we expect a price target of we expect EPS of 9 rupees in FY 13. It's trading around 20 kind of a multiple in a market where overall market is trading around 60 kind of multiple. So it's better to buy on a dips rather than holding out.
Buy on dips, that's the word which is coming in, and the gold prices, the way they're moving, is likely to dent the profitability of the company. JSW Steel, then you've got a sell call on that counter. The long-term charts are reflecting that from levels of 1200 at the start of the year, it's crumbled all the way down to these 500 levels. More weakness, Shrikant?
From a trading perspective, if you look at most, be it is bank, be it metals, be it real estate, be it infra, all the sectors have got sold out, and they are the ones which still remain weak. So there could be some more weakness in the metal space given what we are seeing on the global front if the global economy turns negative, as there is a fair possibility that there could be more weakness on the global front. This pick is from a trading perspective, primarily given the weakness we've seen in the metal space, and JSW Steel was a relatively better performer yesterday. So thought there is a possibility that the stock could correct further. On that basis, this is recommended with a target of about 506 with stop loss of about 520.
Okay, so a JSW Steel target of 506 is what Srikanth had set out. That has been met for the day. Pankaj, talk about a Hexaware then. We've seen that counter spend 4 consecutive days in the red, and today, of course, some bit of buying is returning. But what do you think are the medium-term prospects for this name?
I think it's more of a technical call. I think after holding out in levels of say closer to 80, 85, and I think fundamentally I don't think Hexaware is all that weakish a counter. But if we talk technically, I think with levels closer to 71, I think those are the support levels. I think stock has bounced back from levels closer to 72, 72.5 today. But if it breaches levels of 70, I think sustained short-term weakness could be seen in this counter. Generally, we've been bearish on this mid-cap IT space. If we talk about stocks like say Rolta, Hexaware, or even Aptech or NIITs or Polaris, somehow we feel that it's better to stay with better large-cap IT stocks like Infosys and TCS especially, rather than going for mid-cap IT. So Hexaware, it's more of a directional, it's more of a short-term call, I think. And there was some buzz regarding stake sale some time back. I think that was keeping the stock afloat at levels above 80 rupees. So short-term, I think the trend has turned weak. And if it breaches levels of 70, I think we'll aggressively go short in this counter again.
Okay, Hexaware holding up in this session, but lingering weakness is expected according to Pankaj. And once again, in fact, you've got a banking stock which is making a mention in our list. And interestingly, out of all the 12 stocks, 5 banking names have been in the stock game so far. But an Indian bank on the chart, so there is not looking all that bad in comparison to some of its peers. So why a sell?
I think the problem with the Indian bank is that they have recently raised the NRE deposits, and it's not raised by the Indian bank, it's raised by the private sector bank. Private sector bank is well placed and they are disbursing the same with the good quality of assets they have. But the Indian bank and the rising NPA level, and Indian bank is troubling with their NPA and may trouble more in coming days. That's why I think, and the rising rates, we have a slower credit offtake is likely to dent the profitability for the PSU bank overall. I think slowing economy is forcing banks to raise the NPA. It's raising by the power sector. We see in a last trend, the steel industry is also coming with a good amount of NPA. So overall cost of fund is going to go up, and you don't have too much growth in credit. And I today read a paper where it was mentioned that the credit growth has reached 21-month low. So
right.
We are getting higher cost of fund, but we are not able to deploy it. So ultimately the profitability, the margin, NIM is going to be in trouble in coming days. I think that's the big risk to the banking sector, I think, especially for the PSU banks, those who don't have a presence to disburse the credit offtake too aggressively.
Right. Okay, so the trouble is not ending for the banking pack anytime soon. And Srikanth, the last pick, a Bank Nifty making an appearance there.
Again, keeping in line with the trend of overall banks being weak, I've just recommended a short on a Bank Nifty. It was very close to our targets. I guess there's been some recovery in Bank Nifty with some stocks, frontline stocks recovering. But overall, the trend looks weak. There's been weakness in both frontline PSU banks as well as in large cap private names. So overall the trend looks weak. It's a purely technical call. In terms of overall outlook wise, we would be more confident about some of the private sector names, be it an Axis, yes, an ICICI from a longer term perspective, and less confident about the PSU names. So that's what the broad strategy is. But this from a purely trading perspective, where I've given a short with a stop loss of 8135 on Bank Nifty and a target of about 8010.
That's the word which is coming in on the Bank Nifty December futures, on which Srikanth has been stopped out. The last pick, Pankaj, in your portfolio is a sell on a JSPL. In the month of March, it really fell off the cliff. What kind of levels are you watching out now?
I think this company is facing multiple problems as of now, I think. And latest one was government considering capping the rates of merchant power. I think that was the reason why we saw a sort of sell-off in power stocks yesterday. Apart from that, we know all the kind of problems companies facing with respect to iron ore, with respect to ban on mining of iron ore in Karnataka, with respect to strictures passed by Lok Ayukta of Karnataka. So those are all the issues. Apart from that, metals as such, we've seen this is the pocket of weakness along with banking, and even yesterday in international markets we saw a sell-off in metals. So after having a pullback of in Jindal Power making a low of about 440, 445 few months back, we've seen a pullback closer to 560s, 570s. Again, the stock is drifting down. I think today morning it breached some serious levels. It made a new 52-week high today morning. But I think there is lingering weakness in the stock, and if the stock closes below 440, I think it could be heading somewhere close to 410, 415 on a short-term basis. So we have a negative view on this stock.
Okay, so a negative view coming in on a JSPL 400 or 410 also can't be ruled out. Let's take you through the calculator plates then quickly. We've got Uday Narayan Dubey, for whom 2 short calls, 2 long calls not working out well. It's only a Titan Industries that's holding up, and he's still losing out about close to 7,500 rupees. Shrikant, on the other hand, has been stopped out on the 2 banking picks that he's got. So Vijaya Bank as well as Bank Nifty stopped out. But besides that, JSW Steel has hit the target, making him close to 13,000 rupees. Pankaj, on the other hand, we've got him hitting the target on 3 names. So other than a Hexaware, all the other 3 counters have hit the target, and he's maintaining that lead, making a handsome gain of 31,000 rupees right now. With that, gentlemen, thanks very much for joining in today on the show, and look forward to having you back with us tomorrow morning for your picks for the final day. But we'll take a very quick break on that note, come back with lots more on the other side.